said that those branches that were not directly connected, they were rejected or something that we just read. So what does that mean, Prabhu?
So among the followers of Advaita Acharya, some were actually, as explained, disagreeing with the conclusions given by Advaita Acharya. So it happens, like we have in our ISKCON society, there is one group of devotees who do not follow the conclusion of, the Vaishnava acharyas. Like, Srila Prabhupada's conclusion, they don't follow. They have a difference of opinion. Therefore, they are called, they follow some philosophy called Ritvik philosophy. Okay. So, in every society of Vaishnava, some sect of devotees who deviate from the instructions of the Vaishnava acharyas. So they eventually dry up. That's what is being explained, that that those who actually disregarded or disagreed with the opinions of Advaita Acharya, Lord Chaitanya was angry with them, and therefore he did not nourish them, and they were eventually dried up. So those who actually follow the deviant philosophy, they are compared here with the, as Krishna Goswami says, Shushta Kashta Sama. So they eventually dry up. Like, the tree which is nourished with the water, which is alive, also has wood, but that wood is not dry wood. That wood is actually the source of nourishment for all the leaves and branches. The dry wood, which is the dead tree, becomes susceptible to fire. So similarly, people who are actually deviant from the philosophy are like the dead tree. They can easily be burned by the miseries of existence. Where the devotee who is nourished by the mercy of the Lord, by following the instructions of Vaishnava acharyas, never suffers in one way. Actually, even the so-called suffering in the life of a sincere devotee is a form of joy or ecstasy in one way.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, I was a little confused about. So all the branches that we've been reading till now are all the right branches that are following the scriptural injunctions. Okay, and
Yes.
this particular branch would not stay because they are not following. Yeah, that's so nice too. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So actually, the details are given by the Vaishnava acharyas that Advaita Acharya had total 6 sons, and out of those 6 sons, 3 sons they followed the impersonalism. So Advaita Acharya rejected them all. The 3 sons were devotees, Achyutananda, Sri Gopal, and one more son. They were actually devotees, and the other 3 sons, they actually were rejected by Advaita Acharya. So you can say they also are compared here with like a dry wood.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandat pranams. This is Pranagupta Devidasi. Prabhuji, actually, when I was listening to Srimad Bhagavatam lectures, I got stuck with one word, that is Paramatma. So, like, what is like Paramatma mean, Prabhu? Is it a feeling? Is it a experience? What is that Paramatma mean? And other is, what is Tattvam? So I have these 2 questions, Prabhu.
So one is Paramatma. What is the other thing you said, Mataji?
Tattvam.
Tattvam. Okay. So Paramatma is not a thing or thing. Paramatma is also the Supreme Lord, the living entity. It's also a living entity. Like we are living entity, so he's also a living entity, but he's the supreme living entity. Like the soul, we are referred as Atma. We are actually soul, Atma. But Paramatma is the one who is supreme Atma, as Upanishads describe. Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kama. So Paramatma is the one who actually supreme among all the nityas and supreme among all the chetans, and he's the one who maintains all other living entities. So all of us, we are maintained by him. That is Paramatma, and that Paramatma is seated in everyone's heart in the Vishnu Murti form. So every living entity, they have Atma within, and they also have Paramatma. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno, as Upanishads also say, there are two souls in every body. One is the individual soul, other is the Paramatma, the super soul. And Tattvam. Tattva means, the word Tattva is generally referred in Sanskrit for the
Philosophy.
philosophical.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry?
Yes,
In the
Prabhu.
philosophical.
Yeah, yeah. Is that
In
that
philosophical.
philosophy tattvam and this like mantra 15 it says tattvam purusha napavruno. So that one and this one is the same or like
Yeah, the word Tattvam, that's what I'm saying. Tattvam word is actually used in sense of uh, truth, substance. So wherever the substance is referred, that is referred in Sanskrit language as Tattvam. So Tattva means, like Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Evam yo veti tattvataha. Anyone who knows my birth, janma karma cha me divyam, evam yo veti tattvataha. So Tattva word is used there. Anyone who knows my birth and activities in substance or in truth. So Tattva is used in sense of the absolute reality or substance. The real substance is something that does not get influenced by time or changes by time. It remains uh, always same in spite of the passage of time. So soul or God and their relationship, they are all Tattva. That's the real substance.
okay,
But
Prabhuji.
everything else in this world is actually not Tattva. Yeah, go ahead, Madhavi.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna
So
Prabhuji.
it is the real substance. So tattvam means real substance.
The real, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Madhavi.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Sudevi Sakhi here. I wanted to ask you a question, Prabhu, regarding Srimad Bhagavatam. Introduction I was reading. So in that it is mentioned that sacrifices, all kinds of sacrifices are forbidden because they are useless attempt by foolish men. But even in ISKCON temples, we are performing fire sacrifices even now. So I wanted to understand the contradiction. Likewise, even taking sannyasa is forbidden by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned, but still he took sannyasa, and also that is followed till now in our ISKCON also. So I wanted to understand the reason.
So, first and foremost thing is, in this age of Kali, the only recommended yagya is Sankirtan yagya. So we do perform yagya, but we do Sankirtan yagya. Okay? So that is the recommended and most efficient yagya in the age of Kali. But that doesn't mean that other yagyas are forbidden. There are two specific yagyas which are forbidden in the age of Kali. Ashwamedha, Gavalambam. So performing Ashwamedha yagya and performing Gomedha yagya. These are the two things which are forbidden in Kali Yuga. But yagyas are not forbidden in general. So, although the most sublime and the efficient yagya in Kali Yuga is Sankirtan yagya, but other yagyas can be performed as a catalyst to one's spiritual life. Like the word catalyst is generally used in the sense of chemical reactions, like in chemical laboratory when you want to mix two substances. sometimes they mix very slowly. So just to accelerate the results, you use a catalyst, a third chemical, which accelerates the process of mixing and getting the results. So similarly, the homam or yagya that are performed nowadays in Kali Yuga, they are like catalysts. They help to get the better result, or the faster result in one way. But the only recommended yagya for Kali Yuga is actually Sankirtan yagya. If one does that, the whole endeavor is actually perfect. Srila Prabhupada, when he was establishing Krishna Balaram deities in Vrindavan, he had invited the local brahmanas to install the deities because devotees didn't know the process. So he invited the local brahmanas to install the deity. And later on, Prabhupada actually told, and when the deity installation was going on, he made sure that all the devotees were chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They were the local brahmanas who were chanting and performing these yagya and offering the oblations in the fire. But Prabhupada made sure that all the devotees were sitting and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And Prabhupada actually commented later on. He said, as far as I am concerned, Prabhupada said, chanting Hare Krishna was the real installation ceremony of Krishna Balaram. He said, these brahmanas we engage simply for social purpose, because otherwise they will say, oh, they did any yagya, these deities are not installed. They will not come otherwise to temple. But when the local brahmanas actually came and performed the yagya, they agreed, okay, this deity is now installed. But said, as far as we are concerned, chanting Hare Krishna is the real deity installation ceremony. Because, and Prabhupada didn't just, speculate or concoct this statement. It's about Shastras. Krishna himself says, Naham tishtami vaikunte yoginam hridayeshu va. Yatra gayanti mad bhakta tatra tishtami narada. Wherever my devotees sing my glories, I reside there eternally. I don't reside in yogi's heart. But the Supreme Lord says, I reside in the heart of my devotees. So this is a very important lesson. We do those yagyas simply as a catalyst, but a devotee who is fixed up in the conclusions of the scriptures, he knows chanting Hare Krishna suffices actually for all the yagyas. I hope that answers your question, Mami.
Yes, Prabhu. The second part about sannyasa also.
Yeah. So sannyasa, as far as sannyasa is concerned, sannyasa is forbidden in Kali Yuga. And Srila Prabhupada will explain, the only reason a person can take sannyas is if he dedicates his life for preaching the glories of, only such a person should take sannyas. Nobody else should take sannyas. So in real sense, the only sannyas which is recommended by the Vaishnava acharyas is parivarjika acharya. A person who cannot become parivarjika acharya, he should not take sannyas. Because in previous times, in previous ages, people used to take sannyas. There are 4 stages of sannyas: Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Parivijaka Acharya, and Paramahamsa. So Paramahamsas, they always live as Babajis. They don't really have for anything. But anyone who wants to live as Kutichaka and Bahudaka, following the rules of that order of sannyas, should not accept sannyas in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, the only reason a person can take sannyas is simply to glorify or to engage in the service of glorifying the Supreme Lord.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So we read the pastime of Kamla Kanta, and in text 47, Advaita Acharya said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why have you called back this man, which is Kamla Kanta, and allowed him to see you? He has cheated me in 2 ways. So one way is that he went to Baulia and then he became a Baulia. That's one way. That's one way of cheating. What is the second way of cheat?
Vaishnava acharyas have not given any commentary, but another way you can look at that he became the object of mercy of Lord Chaitanya. You know? So that is a joke. Of course, Advaita Acharya is just joking. It's not that he is anyway having any enmity or competitive feeling, but he's saying he's looking another ways as this person has become one way recipient of Lord Chaitanya's mercy more than me. So therefore, he has cheated me. But of course, this is just he's just joking.
Yeah.
Because Advaita Acharya had rasa with Lord Chaitanya, he will always use the joking words. So here in the joking words, he is just glorifying the fortune of Kamalakanta Vishwas.
Sure, Prabhuji. And in text 50, Prabhuji, translation says, Advaita Acharya, my spiritual master, should never accept charity from a rich man or kings, because if a spiritual master accepts money or grains from such a materialist, his mind becomes polluted. So my question was, Prabhuji, I didn't understand when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Kamalakanta, what was his instruction? Means I didn't understand the
instruction. Prabhupada actually very elaborately explains. We read last week. The prime focus of this entire pastime was Kamalakant Vishwas. He wrote a letter to King Pratap Rudra in which he glorified Advaita Acharya as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he told the king that there is a debt of 300 kind of coins due for Advaita Acharya, so that should be forgiven. Advaita Acharya is supposed to pay debt of $300 or 300 rupees, whatever you say, to the treasury, so that should be forgiven. So on one hand, he is glorifying Advaita Acharya as the Supreme Lord, and on the other hand, he is actually begging the king that please forgive the debt Advaita Acharya has. So this is an insult. Either he should not have established Advaita Acharya as the Supreme Lord, he should have simply asked the king to forgive the debt of 300 coins, or he should not have asked for the clearing the debt. He should have only glorified Advaita Acharya as the Supreme Lord. But by putting both the things together, he's kind of propagating a philosophy that God is poverty stricken. So Advaita Acharya is the Supreme Lord, but he is unable to pay the debt of 300 coins. So please forgive him. So Prabhupada explains, this is the philosophy of Daridra Narayan. There are people in India who actually have this philosophy of Daridra Narayan. The Narayan is actually living in Daridras. So you should do Daridra Seva. Serve the poor people. But why Narayan is living only in Daridra? He lives in everyone's heart. He lives in the heart of a rich man also. So that means you'll say rich men are the rich Narayan or Daridra Narayan or average Narayan. That's all nonsense. Narayan is Narayan. So the whole pastime was actually to instruct Kamalakant Vishwas that he should never do such a thing again in life where he makes the Supreme Lord as Daridra.
Yes, Prabhuji. I got it now. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so if
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavana.
go ahead.
Yeah. Prabhu, I have a question. Shivatsa also has one question, Prabhu. He'll go first.
Oh,
Sure, Madhavi.
So I had a question regarding like the same topic my mom was talking about. I think you were mentioning about it, like a difference in opinion, that sort of thing. How some of Advaita Acharya's sons, they became Mayavadis, and how they were rejected. So that reminded me of something that was in the back of my head a while back about difference in opinion between Vaishnava Acharyas. Like I was reading recently about how, like, Jiva Goswami says that eating in front of the deity is like is an aparad, while Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says it's okay to eat in front of the deity as long as you're not eating betel nut. So what I heard was that all we have to do is take shelter of one of the opinions, because neither one of them is wrong, because both of them can be supported by Shastra, and that as long as we take shelter of one of the opinions and we follow that opinion, then we are fine, I guess. Is that, I just wanted to confirm if that was the right mentality to have, because yeah, because there, I think, yeah, because I got a little disturbed by it at first, and then I read a couple letters, and then I saw Prabhupada mentioning also that it's okay if Vaishnavacharyas have different like opinions on certain topics. So I just was hoping you could shed some light on that.
Yes. So what you mentioned is that is actually correct understanding. If we simply accept one instruction and stick to it, follow that, then we are not liable to the consequences of the second instruction if they are both contradictory. Okay. So if it says that eating in front of deity is offensive, another place says that eating only betel nuts in front of deities is offensive. So you can choose one of the options and stick to it, and you will be all right. So whenever there is a contradiction between the two, great Vaishnava acharyas or great personalities, you simply accept one, and then you are, sincerely following that one. You are not affected by the consequence of other instruction.
Okay, so does that, like, following one of them, does that require, like, when I say require, I mean, like, does that pertain to only that instruction, or does it pertain to all instructions? Like, I only take shelter of this acharya's instructions for everything, or this acharya's instructions for everything, or I take shelter of this acharya's instructions regarding this topic?
No, the topic wise, you can do it in the topic wise. Okay, in this topic, I feel more connected with this instruction, so I'll follow the instruction.
Okay.
So you don't harbor any offensive mentality to the other opinion or other Vaishnava acharyas, but you simply accept one. And that is related to topics, not necessarily that, oh, since I accepted Vishwanath Thakur's opinion, so every time, whenever I see any other topic also, I will have to choose only Vishwanath Thakur. Nothing like that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
So, Prabhu, my question was, I was reading Bhagavatam and I was just looking at a topic of who was Madhavendra Puri in Who's Who in Gaura Leela, and it said that he was the desire-fulfilling tree. So the question was, if Madhavendra Puri was a tree, does it mean, the question is, can he take the gopi form also? Does he also take the gopi form? Is he in Madhurya rasa or is he in Shanta rasa? Because I remember you mentioning once in the class that most of the devotees in Goloka Vrindavan, they are, it's like one is comprising of, like if you are in Madhurya rasa, you also have the, you can also enable to be in Sakya and Vatsalya, like that. So I was just wondering so if a tree is in Shanta rasa, Madhavendra Puri is in Shanta rasa, then how do we understand? Is he, I thought he was also a gopi or manjari in the spiritual world. Correct me, please.
So when we talk about kalpavrksha in the spiritual world, know one thing for sure, that the kalpavrksha is not limited to be just a vriksha or a tree. One time Krishna is walking with one cowherd boy in Vrindavan. So they come to a place where there is, no water. So Krishna tells the cowherd boy, I'm feeling so hot, I want to take bath. So his friend actually transforms himself into a lake. So lo behold, Krishna wants to take bath. His friend turns himself into the beautiful, cooling, with the cool and refreshing water pond. So Krishna goes in the pond and takes bath. And after taking bath, he comes out, and the boy again becomes the boy, and they start walking. Now Krishna goes a little further further ahead, he says, I'm feeling very tired. I want to lie down under a tree, but there's no tree around. So the boy also becomes a tree. And after Krishna takes rest, he gets up, again becomes his friend and starts walking with Krishna. So in spiritual world, there is no such limitation.
Prabhu, does that mean that all, sorry, I don't know if anybody else has more question. I have a couple more questions, but I'll wait for others, Prabhu.
Mataji, if you're
Mhm.
changing the topic, I can ask. If you're continuing the topic, then I'll wait for it.
The same topic, Prabhu, as Prabhu said.
Alright.
I'll be quick. So Prabhu, I was just thinking that when, so is there any, so there is Shanta rasa and Dasya rasa also in Goloka Vrindavan, right?
Yes.
But I don't know if I read it right, Prabhu. I had read that there's not much Shanta rasa. It's usually Madhurya, Vatsalya, and Sakya. Is that right, Prabhu?
Yes. Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. There is no Shanta rasa in one way. So even the blade of grass, or even the trees and creepers in Goloka, they have, uh, a tinge of Madhurya for Krishna. They are eager to always assist Radha and Krishna in their pastimes.
Does that mean that the grass can actually become a gopi also?
As I said, in the spiritual world, there's no limitation. If the grass desires and Krishna desires, yes, the grass can actually become a gopi. But in general, whoever is serving in whatever capacity, they actually feel completely happy and satisfied in that way.
Okay, Prabhu. So that means
Like I think I had mentioned before also, when one time I visited Vrindavan, I mean, it was many years ago, we went to Radha Govindev's temple. So, Radha Govindev's temple is actually situated on a hill, small hill, but it's on the top of the hill. So when you're taking darshan, the pujari actually took us inside the altar, and he took us under the altar. And there was a small temple of Lord Hanuman under the Radha Govindev's temple. So he was explaining that this cave under the temple is actually the place where Rupa Goswami found Radha Govindadev. That pastime, how Radha Govindadev was found by Rupa Goswami was, he used to go to meditate on the hill, and a Surabhi cow will come every day. And she would come from the heavenly planets, go to a particular spot on the hill, and start pouring milk from her udders. The milk would start pouring from her udders without being milked. And this was a daily sight. Every single day the cow would come and pour the milk on that same spot and then go away. So Rupa Goswami actually digged that place, and he found the deity of Govindadev, which actually became his worshipful deity. So this pujari was actually explaining that beneath the temple, there's the temple of Hanuman. So they have a small temple underneath the Radha Govindev temple, where they have the deity of Hanuman. So he was telling that when Rupa Goswami was having this temple constructed, when they were digging this place to put the foundation, they found this deity of Hanuman. So he was telling that Hanuman also eternally resides in Vrindavan. Now, when I heard first time, I thought, okay, no, this doesn't sound good, because Hanuman doesn't really, has, though he has appreciation, but he doesn't have any interest going to Krishna Loka. He's completely satisfied serving Lord Ramchandra. But this Pujari was telling that Hanuman eternally resides in Vrindavan. And when you hear that Krishna was performing Rasa Leela with the gopis, and they are on the bank of river in the middle of night, and then the cool breeze starts flowing. He said that cool breeze that is flowing is actually Hanuman. He comes there to serve Radha and Krishna and all the gopis. I hope that makes sense, Mati, that actually in in Golok Vrindavan, every living entity has the eagerness to serve Radha and Krishna in their pastimes. So in that way, actually, every living entity has Madhurya.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's such a beautiful story. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, that clears, Prabhu. I think I have a couple more questions, but it's too late, Prabhu. I will ask maybe next time. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhu.
so Prabhuji, so on that topic, Mataji was talking, right? That in Gaura Ganadesha Deepika, Madhavendra Puri is mentioned as the kalpavrksha. So I was just looking it up. So it says the kalpavrksha avataraha vrajadamni tishtaha. He is situated as kalpavrksha in the Vraja. Priti preyo vatsalyo raja uchvalakya phala dharinaha. So he bears the fruits of dasya, sakya, vatsalya, and madhuri rasas. So Prabhu, this could also be a symbolic statement as well, right?
Actually, I'll say, let's don't speculate, because yes, I read that as well, but I haven't read any commentary by any Vaishnava acharyas what it actually really means. So when it says it bears the 4 kinds of fruits, so we take it in that way that yes, the kalpavrksha in the spiritual world does bear the 4 kinds of fruits of dasya, vatsalya, and madhuri. So in that way, yes, though he is a kalpavrksha, but he also supplies the fruit of madhurya prema.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah, but I never heard any commentary or never read any commentary by anyone on that particular.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanvat Pranam. Prabhuji, on the same topic. So on the reading of Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 different ways. One may be a devotee in a passive state, that is called Santa rasa. What is it? But my question is, if there is a not active, like no glorification in that state, what is the difference between devotees reached in the Brahma jyothi, because there is also no glorification of the God, and in Santarasa, why the devotees take Santarasa? I mean, can you please help me?
So, in which rasa a devotee will have interest is actually based on their constitution. So, constitution means every living entity has some swarupa in relation. So, every living entity has a unique relationship with Krishna. That is called swarupa, constitutional position of the living entity. So, some living entities, they have a relationship of Shanta with Krishna. That means they just appreciate Krishna's unlimited virtues and qualities. So the devotees who are in Shanta is simply satisfied by appreciating Krishna's virtues and qualities. They never even take to the process of serving the Supreme Lord. So therefore, you'll find that devotees who are in Shantaras, fully satisfied. They don't have any lack of satisfaction. They are actually in spiritual consciousness. But the only difference is that the living entity in Shantaras does not engage in any service of the Lord. He simply has appreciation for Krishna's qualities and virtues. So therefore, Shantaras doesn't exist in Golok Vrindavan. In Golok Vrindavan, there is only the other 4 rasas.
Prabhuji, sorry, but how come the Krishna's flute and everything are in Santarasa?
No, Mataji, flute is not in Shantaras.
If
Krishna's
given,
flute is actually non-different from him, because that is Krishna's paraphernalia.
But in Nectar of Instruction 8th text, we read it, Prabhu, the example.
So flute was referred as Shantaras?
If I'm not wrong, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so as far as I remember reading in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it says there is no Shantarasa. Even if apparently there is some Shantarasa that's also tinged with Madhurya. So Madhurya Prem is there in Golok Vrindavan.
Actually, when Balram serves in different rasas for the Lord, right? So in Shantarasa, he comes as a clothes. In that kind of explanation, I heard, Roji. Maybe flute is part of that. I don't know.
But I also heard that these are all expansions of the Lord, non-different from the Lord. That
Yes. So
Yeah.
that is also saying these are the paraphernalia of the Lord, and paraphernalia of the Lord is non-different from him. So there is no question of Shanta Rasa there. But yes, Prabhu, as he mentioned the point that Balaram also serves the Lord in Shantaras, which is a known fact. We have heard that as well. So I'm not able to understand how to
Can I
reconcile.
read the line, Prabhuji, exactly in Nectar of Instruction?
Yeah, if you have that handy, please read it. That'll give us better insight.
So here it is talking about Raganuga Bhakti and Raga Bhakti. So I'll read a couple of sentences previous that sentence, Prabhu. The stage is called Raga Bhakti or devotional service in spontaneous love. At the stage, the devotee can follow in the footsteps of one of the eternal associates of Krishna in Vrindavana. This is called Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti or spontaneous devotional service can be executed in Santarasa when one aspires to be like Krishna's cows or the stick or the flute in Krishna's hand or the flowers around Krishna's neck. In Dasirasa, one follows in the footsteps of servants like Chitraka, Patraka, and Raktaka. So, like on all the rasas, it given some examples, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, that is actually very clear. There is the presence of Shantaras. But I do remember reading also in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it says in Golok Vrindavan there is no Shantarasa. But anyway,
So Prabhu, Goloka Vrindavan, that's what my next question, which I was holding on to us. Goloka Vrindavan probably doesn't have only Shantaras. Like in Vaikuntha, there are people who don't have any other rasas, but just only Shantaras, right? But in Goloka Vrindavan, there is no one who only has Shantaras. Is that the reason behind that?
could be. That is the only reconciliation I can understand or think of. So even though the paraphernalia of the Lord or the clothing or whatever is referred as in the Shantaras, like the shoes of the Lord or everything else, they may be referred as in Shantaras, but they do have tinge of Madhurya Prem.
And Prabhu, also the situation where gopis are very envious of the flute, right?
Flute, yeah. Right.
The flute is then, I thought, was a gopi in that situation.
Actually, the flute is referred as the eternal companion of Krishna. And though, the gopis actually go into much more in depth, saying that though the flute by nature is a male, Venu is considered the male, according to Sanskrit grammar, the Venu is actually, the gender wise is considered male. So though it's a male, but it's always kissing Krishna's lips. Therefore, gopis actually feel inimical towards the Venu. So in that way, Venu is actually described as having very intimate Madhurya rasa with Krishna, because being always kissed by Krishna's lips. But yes, what Shisha Mataji read, that also makes clear that there is Shantaras. So I think Sukeshwari Mataji, what you pointed out, that seems to be the proper reconciliation of the two facts, that there is not only or exclusively Shantaras in Golok Vrindavan.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, just so in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he actually gives the Shuddha Rati is actually classified into 3 types. I'm just reading from there. It's Samanya, Swachha, and Santa. And he says that the Samanya Rati is present in ordinary people and children for Krishna. It does not have any distinguishing qualities of Swachharati. He says they don't have the taste of Preeti, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Priyata, which is Madhuri Rasa. And the second one, Swacha, he says, when Rati manifests with varieties, Rati manifests many varieties because the practitioner associates with the various types of devotees and performs various practices, is called Swacharati. He gives, Jiva Goswami says it just keeps on changing. The last one is the Shanta Shuddharati, that non-differentiation of the knower and the object within the mind is called Shama. So he explains like that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Maybe you can post that portion.
Sure, Prabhuji.
So from this passage, it looks like even the cowherd boys, very young, who don't go with Krishna in the pasturing grounds, the young children, small children, because gopis do, some of the gopis do have small or even breastfeeding babies, or the babies who are not of the age where they can go with Krishna to the pasturing grounds. So such children, or other few categories, so they will not have sakyaras with Krishna, but they have only appreciation, the Shanta with Krishna.
So Prabhuji, finally, in the Brahma Jyoti, there is no appreciation at all. Even I'm just understanding the difference between appreciation, glorification, and no appreciation. What is the if we reach Brahma Jyoti, if some impersonalist, there is no because they also know there is some power. That's why they reach that stage, right, Prabhu?
Yes, that is true, that Brahma Jyoti, people who actually reach the Brahma Jyoti, they do not have any information about the spiritual planets or the spiritual forms of the Lord. That's the only reason they are not able to go back to the spiritual world. If a person has information about the spiritual planets and the personality of God, that will not be coming in the monistic or Mayavadi concept. It will still come in Shanta rasa. A person who has appreciation for the form of the Lord is at least situated in. He could be in Madhuri as well, but at least situated in Shanta rasa.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. That helps, Prabhu.
Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate.
Thanks so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. We'll stop here today's call. Vancha kalpataru.